I first met our guest some 16 years ago in a year that I think he should have won the Calypso Monarch competition. Now, this is my opinion, but the talk that I heard was that he had some more dues to pay. Now, we're not here for that, though. This evening, 16 years later, and a lot of here in between, we want to talk about the investment that he has put into the art form of Trinidad and Tobago. Brian London is the man, and we are happy to have him on. How you do, Brian?
I am fine. 16 years, long time, by blessings. And
well, some people say as your blink it reach, right? But it seems as though you've been busy during this pandemic, though. So tell me a little bit about the inspiration for the Stay Inside Challenge. Thanks.
That actually started in St. Martin, and a friend of mine's, Andrew Baker Jr., he called me and said, Brian, I think I'm about doing a little extempo thing where people home, just to get them to have a little free time, a little ease up time, waiting. You think we could embark on this? And I said, yeah. And he started it in St. Martin, actually. And then I started it in Trinidad, challenged Terry Lyons and 1 2 others, and she challenged others. And then the thing just started to blow up because, we had videos from as far as Dubai, Germany, Holland, England, as well as most of the Caribbean countries, United States, Canada as well. So it really took off. Really took off. It was a great experience for me to see Extempo on the global stage.
It was really nice to see how people really took to it. We had people who were talking about whether or not is Extempo, but we're not here for that either. But in terms of going back into your history a little bit, you would have started your career in Calypso in the junior Calypso competition. How do you think that made an impact on you, where you are, what it is you're doing today?
Well, for me personally, I probably had the opportunity to showcase my talents at the National Junior Calypso Monarch just once. And a teacher of mine took me, entered the competition. I made it as far as the semifinals, and that was as far as that went. Wasn't fortunate as well to be a part of the NGO junior competitions a lot because, again, finances and the home I grew up in was a very poor home, so they don't always have finances to go to competitions like these and that kind of stuff. So I already took part in a lot of competitions in and around Faisal, like the OWTU, Labor Day, Junior Calypso Monarch, and then I would have gravitated to NJAC, to the Emancipation Juniors and that kind of stuff. But that really helped to shape me in terms of who I am today because it gave me a stepping stone to see a lot of other artists. By that time, the Karina Shays and the Wayne O'Connors and the Devon Seals would have been veterans, but they would have been a part of the Junior Calypso Monarch since they were like 9 years, 7 years old, and they were already in their teens. So they would have had probably 5, 6 years or more experience than I. But I had to learn quick. And, it really helped to shape me in terms of who I am today.
And we're building this conversation piece by piece from the ground up. Huh? And because sometimes people feel that this person who you now know this person is just because they wash the foot and come. But I give the example sometimes of, say, like Kerwin Dubois, when you could take the pants that he was wearing and make 2, 3 outfits now, these days, when you're singing like No Shade Under the Coconut Tree and we build this city. But they have roots and those roots go deep. But and on the same token, though, I'll ask, do you think that different titles in, say, like social and political commentary, which you've been successful in winning, do those help in terms of having those different categories as opposed to just having just one title and saying Calypso Monarch and you win and that's it? Does the fact that you're looking for something a little more specific, does that help?
Yeah, I think that what it helps with is it helps to broaden the scope of Calypso because Calypso can take on so many faces, and Calypso has so many faces. You have the social side, the political side, the humorous side. You have the gospel Calypso side, the rapso side, and what it does, those titles do, or those categories, what it does for the art form is allow different persons to try their hand at different things. I have done some socio-political songs, I have done social commentaries, I've done some socio-humor, some political humor. So it allows you to operate within a space whereby it's a living and breathing organism that continues to grow and continues to expand. And you're able to showcase your talents and abilities and not just one genre. Some people choose, okay, I'm going to be singing strictly social commentary and that's their choice. Some may say, okay, fine, I may just delve along the political lines, while others may cross into different areas and try different things. I am one who likes to experiment with the music and try different things with the music. I remember 2014, I think it was, I did a song called Wishful. Very slow, methodical kind of song. Made it to the semi-finals and people was like, and I mean, when the song just came out, trust me, people were in love with the song. They couldn't get enough of the song. Most radio stations were playing this song every single day. But from the time it got to competition, and I made it into Skinner Park, and then I made from Skinner Park into the finals, then the debate started happening. There's now Kaiso, I need to do this, I need to have the beat for the Kaiso, I need to have this, I need to have that, and certain elements missing. And now, to me, that all the elements of what a calypso was, because it was in the same vein of 1990 by David Rudder. And when I would have done that song, I already envisioned to take the song to different stages. So I did it with just a guitar, a guitarist in the semifinals, and I already had plans to add instruments, violins and flutes and pan and different things once I had made it to the finals. Now, having made it to the finals and had all that banter about the song being calypso or not calypso, I think I was defeated before I even hit the Marshgrass stage. Then when I got to the Marshgrass stage, people was like, nah, boy, that song real bad. But by the time that was done, said and done, I think it was already embedded in the judge's mind and the psyche of the people that Diana Kaiso, so no matter how it sounds, I pay the price. And that was basically it. But I like to push the envelope and experiment with a lot of different things, you know.
But with that in mind, in terms of the purpose or the utility, the function of having people in it from young, having different genres and allowing people to explore different things as opposed to just saying, okay, well, this is what it's supposed to be. What's the purpose of the Junior Extempo Monarch?
Years ago, I realized that I got into Extempo because Winston Gypsy Peters saw me and he always said, Brian, why don't you come in the Extempo competition? You're a composer and it'll be easy for you because you compose your own stuff. Come into the competition. And I said, Gyps, that's not for me. I said, sitting and composing is a different thing from coming on that stage and just stand and blurt out stuff. That is not for me. And for years, people wanted me to come in the competition. And then I decided about 2012, 13, I'll enter the competition, and I did. And continued going 2012, 13, 14 of the road. And then I realized I'm seeing the same faces most times at the final. And I realized there and then that there are junior competitions for every other aspects of the art other than Extempo. So there's Junior Calypso Monarch, there's Junior Panorama, Junior Soca Monarch, Junior Chutney, Junior Parade bands. And I realized there wasn't any Junior Extempo Monarch. So then how are we as a body and as a people going to secure the continuity of this great art form of Extempo? And I decided there and then, look, I need to do something. By that time, I had already won one Extempo Monarch in 2014. And I decided to form an NGO called Friends of the Youth of Trinidad and Tobago. And in 2015, we held the first national junior Extempo Monarch. And we have been going strong ever since. And it was just to create a nursery and a platform to train people in the art form of Extempo, give them the opportunity to try Extempo as juniors. And if we can get 2 or 3 of those who come to the workshops and into the competition, coming across into the seniors, we would have done our job in the context of creating that nursery and ensuring the survival and the growth of Extempo over the years. Because if the next 10, 15 years, Gypsy, Lingo, myself, others decide, okay, we're going to pack it up, who is going to hold the mantle or the reins of Extempo?
And in terms of holding that mantle, though, Brian, we're going to continue the conversation on the other side of the break. We are speaking with Brian London, and we're talking about the Junior Extempo Monarch. Stay with us. We have so much more for you. Welcome back. We are speaking with Brian London, the Sans Humanite for the juniors. And now, Brian, I don't know if I took in fire, but you spoke about so many things that happen, their junior categories. Now, I see that this is something, or the Junior Extempo Monarch would happen under Friends of the Youth of Trinidad and Tobago, as opposed to another body that might have a little larger reach. With that in mind, what do some of the older heads say? So in terms of like the same gypsy lingo, some of the black sage that always around at Baby, what would they have told you when they saw that, okay, well, this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to bring some more people into this fraternity or this circle?
I mean, they were all welcoming to the idea and to the initiative. And over the years, they have all graced the stage of the National Junior Extempo Monarch, and we have awarded a number of the Extempo artists and other artists, calypsonians as well, for their contribution to Extempo and to calypso. So they were all welcoming, and again, we would have had at the finals performing Gypsy, Lingo, Abibele, Black Sage, Myron B. So, I mean, they were all embracing of the idea, but I think a lot of people felt it was needed, but nobody didn't really take the jump or take the lead and getting off the ground. So they were all, and they're still very supportive of the initiative and the idea. So it's not like we see it as a competition, but they're glad to see younger ones coming in.
Yeah, because I could see some people as well saying, well, if this died with me, then I was wasting time. I didn't do all that I could have done. Because it's one thing to have people say, okay, well, hey, that fella was gooder. But if it died with you, that means that you didn't plant any seeds.
Correct, is right. I want to create a Bruce Lee story. I want to create what we would call the karate story, where the man get beat up and then he went and he fight the master, and master trained him, but he come up out and it doesn't matter the revenge, but the master trained him and he gets good at some point in time. Probably he'll fight against the master for the master to see how good he has gotten, and he'll be the master. I would like to see that, and I could look back at my work and say, hey, well done, really putting the work, and I'm seeing the fruits of my labor. You know, if somewhere down the road, one of these juniors who I would have trained or coined from this junior Extempo competition comes up against me in a final or in part of the competition and eliminates me or beats me, man, I'm going to feel proud. I wouldn't see it as a loss. I would see it as a gain, because, I mean, already we would have had Kevin Kalis, who is the grandson of Black Stalin, he was a 4-time winner of the National Junior Extempo Monarch. And he gravitated to, in his final year after winning his 4th title, he came across the senior Extempo and made it straight to the senior finals immediately, first year. And then last year, 2020, we had about 3 or 4 of our juniors coming across to try their hands at the preliminaries at the seniors. So I'm already seeing the benefits, you know, of doing this competition and doing these workshops.
And in terms of those workshops, what would those workshops really entail? And I also want to know how the pandemic has impacted the workshops and other work that you're doing with regard to the Junior Extempo Monarch.
Well, the workshops, basically, we would ask a number of schools to come to one particular area. So like the schools in North, most of these secondary schools in North would have asked them to come to, most of the time, St. Anthony's College or another secondary school, and we do the workshop. The workshop basically would entail rhyming patterns. Well, first of all, the history of Extempo, right? So they know how Extempo started. Then they would go through some rhyming patterns and give them some easy rhyming words that they will formulate their own rhymes with. Then the formulation of lines and how you make sense out of your topic. Then, after they got the rhyming scheme properly, we give them a particular topic and tell them, look, write out your verse on a topic and sing out your verse. And after they have gotten accustomed to that over a period of time, they would now be able to formulate their verses in their mind for themselves. And then we go through the verses and say, okay, what about this makes sense? What about this doesn't make sense, right? Look at the topic and tell me what are the important things that you felt you would have left out, or the important things you would have included. And then they say, yes, sir, you know, I really put that, I didn't think about that. And in that way, they're able now to start to think for themselves and broaden their scope. Sometimes we give them topics where they have to go and do some research. So that's what Extempo is. You need to read, you need to understand. So the workshops would have included a lot of stuff like that. What the pandemic would have done, the pandemic would have put a little halt on us having these workshops. Of course, you know, schools are on a lockdown still, and we were unable to have our workshops, but we have been in contact with a number of the teachers who would have brought some of the students to our workshops. And yeah, we are working with them as well still to try and get, you know, to make sure that they're ready and raring to go. So whereas COVID-19 would have stumped on anything, we're not letting that hinder us. We're using that as a stepping stone to do this year's competition 100% online.
So
100%.
so tell me about this. So tell me about the 100% of this year's competition. In terms of like, when is it happening? How is it happening? What kind of protocols? What kind of difference is it going to be from this year to last year? And take me through all that information, thanks.
All right. So this year we decided we're going to go to a 100% online competition. And thanks to Tiger Tanks who have been with us from day one, and Tiger Tanks have decided to sponsor our prizes. So I say thanks to Mr. Dennis Latif, General Manager of Tiger Tanks, for coming on board. This competition caters for both primary and secondary schools. And it's simple. We're going to give you the different topic, and all participants are to do 2 verses in extempo style on the topic. And when they record a video of you doing your 2 verses and upload the video to Friends of the Youths of Trinidad and Tobago at gmail.com. So that's Friends of the Youths TT at gmail.com. If you didn't get it, I'm going one more time. Friends, FRIENDS of the Youths, YUTHS at TT, at gmail.com. So that's Friends of the Youths TT at gmail.com. And we have a panel of judges who have been accustomed to judging the March Gras and the Calypso Monarch and Panorama and these kind of things. They will go through the videos and they will pick 18 persons to move on to the next round of the competition in both categories, 18 in the primary and 18 in the secondary. The deadline for submission of the first set of entries is Sunday, the 31st of January at 7 p.m. Again, the deadline is Sunday, the 31st of January at 7 p.m. And the topic here, extemporaneous on to the first rounds, is living COVID-free. The topic again, living COVID-free. You're advised when you're doing your video to state your name, your school, and in your written email, put a contact number so that if you make it into the other rounds, we'll be able to get in contact with you. The other rounds will take place on the 5th of February. Again, deadline for that round will be closed at 7 p.m. And the final rounds entries are to come in by the 10th of February, again at 7 p.m. And as you go on to each round, you will have a new topic for extempo on. The primary schools will do 2 verses right through the competition, and the secondary schools will do 2 verses in the first round, and then 3 verses at the semi-final stage, and 3 verses at the final stage. Prizes. You want to know what the prizes are?
Of course.
Yes, man. So the first prize in the secondary school category is $3,000 first, by $2,005 second, and $1,005 third, along with a trophy for the winner. And the primary school category, $2,000 by $1,005 second, and $1,000 third. And we're also trying to work with some other stakeholders to try and get some vouchers and stuff organized, but everybody who takes part in the competition can get something. So we're trying our best to see how we can work to make sure at least all the finalists get something. We have also going to include the public as well. So out of the 18 that makes it to the finals, we actually want to take 20. So the public has a chance to vote back in 2 wildcard persons by going onto Facebook and going onto the pages and liking the videos with the most amount of likes back in the competition. So 2 wildcards, primary and secondary. So if your daughter, your son, your cousin needs to make it, we include the public as well. You know?
And definitely that's something that I want to thank you for doing and taking that and running with it. Not like Mr. Killer, but at the same time, putting that work in so that you can look down the road and say, hey, I had a hand in that. Or somebody else could say, you had a hand in this, because you know sometimes they say self-praise is no recommendation. Huh? But thank you very much, Brian London, and the Friends of the Youth of Trinidad and Tobago for doing the work that you're doing. And we want to thank you on behalf of the entire news team for joining us this evening. I'm DK Rasta. Have a good night.